So you'd like people to vote for you so you can come in, change the constitution, remove political parties. I had the pleasure of sitting with, I don't know if it's One South Africa, Dr. Michael Louis. He's been one of the people that has championed for independence to get into parliament. I think Musi Maimani did some work with them as well. We're not happy with where it is currently. Cyril Ramaphosa and the rest of government have signed it in, as messy as it is, because it still favors them in a large way. For most people that do not know, I think currently independents can only occupy 200 of the 400 seats. So there's a limitation outside of the many other hurdles they need to jump. But Dr. Michael Louis is still going to the Constitutional Court because fundamentally he wants, I think what you want, to say we need independence to have more of a voice.
I met him a long time ago, just in brief. I mean, I don't even think he'll remember me. It was in the early days of me starting OHM. And his strategy, I criticize because he's chosen the legal system and needs to change. I believe that now what he's done, he's said these changes need to take place. And he's left the decision actually in the hands of those currently in power.
Correct.
Instead of infiltrating the political system from within and then changing it like that. So I think strategy is extremely important.
Yeah.
And how one approaches it to get an end goal is extremely important. So we don't even expect to get a majority rule at any point. Yeah. We believe that once we have representation in National Assembly, whether it's 1 seat or whether it's 50 seats, it doesn't matter. We're actually going to start lobbying, not other parties, individuals.
In those parties.
To
kind of floor cross and
not even floor cross. No, not even. Not at all. To say these are the changes we want to make to the Constitution. Yeah. This is literally in the best interest of the people.
Yeah.
If you care about South Africa, and even if you care about your seat, and if you want to grow your own following, it's in your interest to bring these changes about.
Grow your own following. It's like infiltrating the SABC and teaching everyone to create their own podcast.
But it's about independence, and that's the thing. I mean, our identities, our personalities, and our successes are based primarily on how the financial system operates. Take that away, and who are we really?
Sure.
And it's the same with the political system. I think, and this has been a hard journey and a learning curve for me, because I've realized not very many people actually want freedom, even if they say they do. When it comes down to it, and when they actually think about what freedom means, I don't believe they actually want to do what it takes to have it.
Are you preparing yourself for that pain? Because some of us have gone through it. Because I was going to say later that, some of your ideas and some of your vision is very idealistic. And I don't know if you're ready for some of the pain. Part of it being the realization that there are some people that will literally fight you to stay within those boxes you spoke about. I
think I'm experiencing it as we go along. Yeah. But I have hope that there is enough. I believe that once our message has reached all South Africans, once that has happened, I believe there's enough people that will value freedom so much that they will do what it takes to make South Africa a sovereign nation where people can live free.
So Dr. Michael Louis argues that the current way that we vote is unconstitutional. Of which I asked him this question, and he didn't give me a straight answer, and it wasn't for him to answer. It was like, if you're going to say the way we vote, where you have to vote for a political party for someone to get a seat, is unconstitutional, that could arguably mean all our elections before have been null and void to some degree.
I'd agree with that.
Before 94, most South Africans don't know, we did have constituency-based voting, which to the average South African, they don't even know there is constituency. What's that now? Where essentially, and I'd like you to also zero in on this, the idea of having representatives geographically representing you in parliament is one of the things that you guys believe in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can understand why. I actually perfectly understand why we have the system we do. When you went from apartheid to where we are now, because society wasn't integrated, I see why it was necessary to implement this multi-party system. And I feel like it's now time to move on.
So you're saying it was almost valid for that time?
Almost valid, because you're coming from apartheid, where areas were segregated and all the rest. You're coming from that time to immediately the transition happens and now people need to vote and people need to get informed. So I can understand. But I think the Constitution and everything was always put in place with the idea that it was going to evolve as our democracy evolves. But unfortunately, what has happened is that the politicians in the system have decided to secure their positions, to hold on to power, so that people are continuously just feeding the state machine at the end of the day. So constituency-based, our constituency, so we actually, if we can talk about government structure a little bit.
Please go for it.
Because what's different is that not only do we want to change the electoral system, we want to change how government works, the government structure. So what we want to do is get rid of provincial government. Our provincial borders can be there for logistic purposes, but provincial legislature won't be there because I feel like it's redundant. I feel like it's a huge drain on taxpayers' money. I think it's unnecessary. So what we're going to have is a very strong national government that will take care of three main areas. It'll take care of the defense of the borders of the country from international threats.
Which is currently
non-existent. In so many ways as well. It's not just about a huge topic right now is foreigners, if you can call them that, coming across the borders. It's not just that. We have to protect South African borders from international interests. There are international corporations, organizations, and governments just benefiting from our resources.
Sure.
So I believe that the people of South Africa should benefit from the country's resources. And the state borders should be protected. And there should be international relations, but on our terms.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be the beggars at the table all the time. It should be on our terms only. So we want to strengthen our borders. That's the main function of national government, and that's not happening. Strengthen our military as well, which I think will instill in our entire country, in our entire citizenship, a feeling of discipline and pride in our nation, which we need. And I think it can also provide an avenue and an opportunity for youth to find that direction they might not have gotten from their parents.
So you believe in military conscription?
Not conscription. Voluntary. Voluntary, incentivized, but not conscription, no.